Welcome to the Accomplished Brain podcast, where we share our passion, knowledge, and experience about the brain and health.
A lot of this stuff has certainly been around for a long time, but when you've been able to do is kind of harness it and put it in a very practical application, and take someone like myself who didn't have a neurology background and simplify it and be able to put it into practice.
Yeah, I mean, I think what my goal has been is I think there's a lot of smart people. So I want to share with you, people out there, some things that I'm not going to agree or disagree. I'm just going to tell you how Jeff and I aren't going to be, and I'm not going to be the people who do that. I'm not one way or the other. I'm always going to say good stuff about everybody on here. It's very our consciousness. And so Jeff and I, besides, learning a lot of academia, we also come from a very conscious world. Consciousness means that we're very aware of our thoughts, and we're aware that our thoughts drive certain energy. And energy is that's about healing, is energy. And then we all bring in academia, right? We're bringing exercise, neuroscience, plasticity, but we all bring together whatever therapies or trainers or strength coaches together. We bring an energy to the gamma and to the table. And I think for Jeff and I think when we're on here, we're only going to say good things about people, and we want to keep that. And we're not, we have a philosophy. And so one of the things I think is there's a lot of brilliant people out there. There's a lot of incredible, smart people who put amazing books together and really deep stuff. Like that book that I was showing you with the amygdala, that comes from a neuroscience book, a neurology book by a neurologist for Yale. Brilliant guy. I mean, there's so many brilliant people. So I think what I tried to do is put a course together that first I was teaching Jeff, and then through teaching Jeff, we were able to put this course together. Is we wanted to put a course together of what was important working with a client. Now that doesn't mean that you don't read a lot of these, you don't read more books, you don't get more in depth. And our book isn't the only book that's out there, but we feel that there's a lot of good things in there that were important when a practitioner is working with a client. And it's important for the client to see a lot of nice things like that diagram. That doesn't mean we're the end all be all. And it doesn't mean that we don't have good stuff. We have really good stuff. And there's a lot of people that have, and I think teaching is all about trying to meet people at a level and try to improve people's foundation so that they could take that information and they can apply it. And that's very important, is how do you apply the information? Because the knowledge is important, but having to apply it and then help other people get results, or whether it's a practitioner that wants to do this work, or whether it's a client that wants to get better, to learn how to do these exercises or learn why you do these exercises and coach them. And that's really important with our work, is that the application. So we tried to put something together that was complex, but yet we try to simplify it in a way that practitioners can, come and learn this stuff, and they can get the results and they can help their clients. And that's where we're going to constantly always keep it in these podcasts, is we're always going to say good things about everybody. And we're just going to share the way we look at things and how we do things. And we're very open.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely helped me in my practice, my business. And
Jeff, can you share like a couple of cool cases, or just maybe an example of a case like that you were able to, that somebody came to you and they learned this stuff, you learned this stuff, and then you were able to provide value with?
Sure. So a couple months ago, I had somebody with like a nystagmus, constant, blinking and eyes were kind of dancing around quite a bit. And probably 11-year-old boy. And the mother came to me about it. She was a client of mine, and she basically said it really just kind of kicked in recently with school, considering most of the kids are on Zoom nowadays. And I think there's also some social pressures going on, so on and so forth. So I simply in one session saw him, and I went through a diagnostics of balance, eye tracking, saccades, cerebellum coordination from each side. And basically with that, it kind of gave me a keyhole to see, okay, something might not be firing properly. And from there, I just gave him corrective exercises in order to bring hemisphericity, or to bring balance, right, to his cortex.
And I'll share. Hemisphericity just means that one brain, either the left side of the brain or the right side, is firing. They're not firing at the same rate, so the left brain, will, a lot of the right-sided movements will control the right-sided movements, vice versa. The
Mhm.
right brain controls the left-sided movements, and then, with language and speech, there's different things, right and left brain. So a lot of times we're looking at it to see if there's one brain that's off, and we're trying to give exercises. Sometimes, a lot of times we give exercise on both sides, and then maybe we give exercise on one side a little longer to kind of to create a balance, or help the body to heal itself to create a balance.
For sure, for sure. And so, basically after some cerebellum coordination, one head movement, one eye exercise, and then some breathing patterns. The mom was insistent that I saw him the week after, even though I said we could probably give it a couple weeks. And I'd say probably his nystagmus, his amount of blinking and eye flaring, went down about 2/3 in 1 week. I saw him one more time, that next week. And the mom has felt great about it since, and he hasn't had any issues since. So he was, that is the key. He did his homework 3 times a day.
That's the neuroplasticity.
Right,
So
right. So
that goes back to, he's activating the eyes, he's activating the breathing centers. They're all, so again, the receptors are firing. That fires the cellular level at a certain time period. Enough calcium comes in, the nucleus gets activated, makes proteins, and then the mitochondria gets activated, and the mitochondria makes more stronger connections. Over a period of time, this happens. Over a period of time, the function improves.
for sure, for sure. So
That's a classic example of how he was able to change the firing of the nerve, change the cellular level through simple exercise, and then get neuroplasticity. It's real simple.
for sure. Yeah.
And here's the other thing: how Jeff he owns a gym. He's able to train the mom, and now through his relationship with the mom, he was able to add more value with that client, because now she was very concerned about that eye blinking, the nystagmus, his focus, attention, all that stuff. And now Jeff was able to come in there and then become much more valuable to his client. And now they're looking at him not only are from the physical exercise for my health, but now the neurological component, and especially for his son. So now when his referral list comes out, the mom is not just thinking about Jeff as the health and the training, but also the neurological component, that she might know people that could that Jeff, other people that Jeff could help.
Definitely, definitely.
And Jeff's now opened up whole new opportunities into his business.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So I've been studying under Andrew for over 5 years, and have really kind of started practicing about 2.5 years ago. And it's been a huge opportunity for me, both in the general population world, but also in the sports world. I coach high school basketball and youth football, and it's been a huge part of my growth as a coach as well.
Yeah, and I'll say this about Jeff: um, any practitioner, whether it's someone who's into osteopathic like Jeff, physical therapist, chiropractor, acupuncture, occupational therapist, your naturopath doctor. It's just like anything else. It's just, I'm to share with you guys on the podcast. Yes, I've developed a course. Yes, I'm developing software. I'm always reading and studying. I'm always reading and studying because I think the more that I understand how things work, and we're going to talk about this in mechanism, we're going to do a podcast on mechanism based therapies. The more you can understand things, it's kind of like if you were a basketball coach and you first started your first 5 years, you're running the same system, but now you take your 15th year or your 20th year into coaching, that same system and the same similar plays, you're looking at that just a little bit differently because of the experience that you have, because your experience improves your foundation. So in our world, we might be our experience with cases and then our experience just going over the information and studying. So I'm always kind of learning, trying to look at what we're doing and just kind of getting a more deeper level of it allows us to become, the more we have a good foundation, the better our creativity could be. The more we could think about a case and think this, maybe this could work. And that's what we want to, we're very much free thinkers and we're very creative. And I think it's based on reading and science that's out there and really good consciousness and energy. And that's what we're trying to bring to the table.
For sure. For sure. So great. So I think that wraps it up for our first podcast. Andrew, thanks so much for sharing everything on your knowledge of neuroplasticity, and we talked about hemisphericity and all that stuff. So that was awesome, man. Great job. And looking forward to next time.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Thank you also for the value. Thank you for your own experience. And also thank you for working with you. Jeff is a great guy. I think anybody who is striving to do any type of work, and Jeff really put a lot of time into it, and just is a pleasure to being able to teach. I'm very grateful for that opportunity and also grateful to develop a friendship with him and work with him on many fronts. He's just a great guy, great energy, and he does a lot of great work with his clients, with his regular clients, and with his athletes.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And right back at you.
Thanks. All right. And we look forward to our next podcast with you guys.